All right, LaTasha Hewitt, thank you so much for your presence to the Breath of Life Seventh-day Adventist Church. I'm Pastor Kobe Matlock. Once again, we want to thank the Breath of Life viewers for tuning in. We have an exciting conversation today. In the midst of this pandemic, we know that the digital presence of our churches is vital. It's a lifeline.
Yes.
And so I have a very important guest here today to talk to us about what her passion is in communication. So, LaTasha, can you help me out? What would your advice be to communication departments during this COVID-19 pandemic?
I think my first step would be take a breath. As we all know, a lot of what we've been promoting from the communication side of things has been heightened all of a sudden. It's like these are the things we were trying to bring our church members along with up to this point, and now everyone's interested. And now the level of interest has risen so high that you find that there's so much to do. The question becomes, where do I start? And so I say take a breath. Because if you just start running, if you just start going in every direction, you're going to wear yourselves down very, very thin, very quickly. And there's so much out there right now. I mean, there is content overload online. And so I'm advising everyone to be very strategic about what you're going to do. Look at your church, find out what's important to your church. So looking at Breath of Life, is it important right now for members to have information on the website? Okay, then let's prioritize the website. Is it key for us to stay connected through streaming? Okay, then let's move to streaming and seeing how we can make sure our members as well as our community can view us online. And then the next question is, does it need to be Facebook Live? Can we just stream through YouTube? Can it be private? Can we work in steps? I think that's important too, to create steps. And gradually get to the point where you want to be. A lot of people started off this pandemic on their phone, doing a conference call with their church members, and now they're streaming live from Facebook, but they took it in stages, and now they're able to do it well. So I would say create, this is a time where we need to be strategic. Try not to just go after everything you see happening out there for your church. Right. Stick with what's most important and work on those things.
Thank you. And I mean, Breath of Life, we're all about branding. So we want to put a quality product out. I think quality over quantity, that's my philosophy. But you've affirmed a few things, because I have so many things I want to do, but I don't think it's sustainable right now, because this might be going on, LaTasha, for this quarantine, for another 6-7 months. And you need a team of individuals. And we work so hard just to do our streaming service, to bring quality every Sabbath, and to expand that, you have to have the right infrastructure in place. So I love the fact that you got to be strategic.
Yes, so important.
And sustainable. Talk to us real quick about some of the resources that your office provides. And you have some great content. I know Tuesday, you always share good stuff, just so that my communication team and others, I'm sure they're aware, but we just want to continue to let them know what type of resources we have at our disposal.
Sure. From the communication side of things, like you said, we try to have webinars monthly. This month, and I'm not sure when you will be viewing this, but this month we're dealing with copyright. Because this uptick of people putting content out there and streaming and trying to get things for children, we're starting to see a little bit of copyright infringement work its way into some of what we're doing. I mean, of course, the intent is to just, have something for my babies to watch. But when we're stripping videos from YouTube and incorporating them in our streams without giving proper credit, or almost giving the impression that it's our original content, we have to be very careful. I mean, with everything going on, we don't want any of our churches to be fined.
Sure.
So, we have a webinar. General Counsel for the GC, Jennifer Gray Woods, is going to be doing a webinar on that. And the great thing about our webinars, they're always archived on our website. It's ac.org/communication. And so you'll be able to find it there, or /CamCon, which is where we store all of our webinars. So that's a resource. We have webinars for different things right on our website for you to view and get some tips. Of course, on the media side of things, everyone's trying to get their equipment, right. What's the best equipment to use? Of course, I have some recommendations. Charles, our media director, can also provide some specific equipment that you need based on your budget for your church. And we're here for just one-on-one consultation. Sometimes we'll get a message that says, what do you think about my website? Is this messaging okay? And so we're able to give those kind of one-on-one tips or advice as you're making different changes and transitions with this whole communication thing. So we're just here to help. Whatever questions you have, you can reach out to us. If we don't know the answer right away, we'll find out for you.
And what about also, it has become an emerging trend with what we call security for our streaming being, I don't know, just the concern, because I know a lot of our young people, we have a lot of programming for them. And I've been told that we have a pretty safe platform with Zoom. That's what we use. Mm-hmm. But I do know the inherent challenges and dangers that occur, both in you getting pirated and then having the proper supervision for our young people with the chat sites and different things. Can you kind of talk to us about that a little bit? Absolutely.
Of course, with Zoom, a lot of distance learning was going on, and, teachers were sharing links for students to join, and some people were sharing the links with their friends who were popping up in classrooms doing inappropriate things. And so we're right now kind of advising people, one, to just pretty much manage your room properly. As the host, you have the option to, kick people out of the room, stop people's screens and whatnot. And also you may require a password, or you may require people to register and enable a waiting room. When you enable a waiting room, you have the option to decide who gets in and who gets out. So some of our churches, for churches that's difficult, because obviously you want anyone who wants to listen to your service to be a part of it. You don't want to exclude people just because you don't recognize their name. But the key there is to make sure someone is managing the room. Someone has eyes on everyone at all times. So if something pops up, the host can quickly, or co-host can quickly remove the person from the room without disrupting the service at all. Now, you spoke about the children, of course, with people trying to do youth programming and AY, we want to make sure that people know that, we can't just have teens coming in and, say this was I was a teen right now. It would be inappropriate for me as a young teen to be on a private Zoom call with an adult without possibly my parents knowing. And so there's a requirement, and the virtual guidelines are on our website, that there are at least 2 or 3 other individuals in the room, and that parental consent has been given. We want to be safe in all of this. We don't, we know how the devil likes to sneak in and take something that we're using to connect to, actually cause some confusion or disruption. So we just want to be safe as we're using Zoom and all of these other platforms.
Awesome. What opportunities do you see that the devil could have meant this for evil, God meant it for good kind of thing? What opportunities do you see for our churches and our communication with this whole situation? It's throwing a lot of our churches off balance and off kilter, but what opportunities emerge that you see?
And the opportunity has always been the same, but I think now more people are seeing it. We hear reports from our pastors saying, wow, we've never had this many people in our prayer meetings before. Because one, it's easy for people to access, and, people are home anyway right now. And so it gives them an opportunity to connect with an audience they may never have connected with initially. And as you mentioned earlier, so many were not streaming prior to this, so they didn't have that platform to be able to reach out and beyond. And so I see this opportunity as a way for people to really understand what online evangelism is all about and how far-reaching it can be. I mean, individuals from other countries are able to tune into our services. because now we're on a platform where they can see it. I also see the opportunity for church members to get a little closer. I think, you know, in this particular pandemic, it's really made us sensitive to the people around us and those that we connected with. I saw something online the other day where somebody posted, I'm actually missing people I don't like because there's something innate in us that wants to stay connected to people. And it's causing church families to grow a little closer together because, you know, we have this whole thing, we're in this together. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, we're seeing more connection between congregations and this pulling together to make it out together. And we're also seeing our ministries flourish with being able to provide content that can, and the creativity. I don't want to lose sight of that. You're seeing more creative ways of doing ministry, things that I think will you know, be sustained past this pandemic. You know, wow, we could have a AY right online on a Friday night. It doesn't always have to be Saturday afternoon. This is great. I mean, I think it's given us more versatility. So there's so much opportunity in all of this.
Awesome. Last question is, how important do you believe it is to, I guess, have longevity? You know, this is a team effort, as you know, and I know how hard you work and your team. And we're looking at a lot of workload that most churches are not used to putting in. And we don't know how much longer we have to go with it. So, I mean, what advice, what insight do you have for my team? We have a great team at Breath of Life. They're working hard, but just establishing that kind of stability and long-term, you know.
Yeah, I follow you completely. I mean, I know at least initially it's going to require some pretty consistent meetings. I mean, you have to get that foundation secure, as I mentioned earlier. You know, what are our priorities right now? I mean, the priorities we have now may have changed, you know, since the team first came together. You know, what's most important? And, you know, being able to start with the top three, working on those things as a team, getting everyone's input, and most importantly, delegating responsibilities so that everybody knows what's required of them, everybody knows their part to make sure things get done, and then each team member being accountable to what they committed to do. It's so important during this time, because if one person drops the ball, it can be the difference between service streaming and service not streaming. And so it's really, really important right now for team members to work together and encourage each other. You know, sometimes, you know, a lot of people are volunteer in ministry and they're dealing with either their full-time jobs, their children. And so we have to, as team members, kind of sometimes pick up the slack for each other and encourage one another in this ministry so it can keep going forward. But most importantly, have a plan, stick with the plan, you know, have short-term goals and have long-term goals. But always work towards them. Don't let tasks just stay undone. Be very intentional about, and also getting your input. The pastor's input is always most important to make sure the programming is going along with the plan, the church plan. You know, the communication plan doesn't exist without looking at the church's strategic plan and what it's trying to do in the community. So those are the tips I would have for communication.
Thank you so much, LaTasha. That's all I have for you. I've enjoyed this. I hope that the Breath of Life constituency membership enjoyed it. Thank you so much for your time and attention.
No problem. I appreciate the opportunity. And hello, Breath of Life. We're praying for you guys. We're rooting for you. Make sure you share with us all the great things that you have going on. We want to share them with our constituency, you know, through our AC Today reports. We're ready to feature churches just like yours. So just let us know. Thanks, Pastor Matlock.
Thank you. Bye-bye.